Yeah. So I was kind of thinking like, what can I talk about, and show you something you might not know. Then I actually come into the conclusion that there might be not that much, but anyway, workarounds. There are going to be these 4 workarounds. Those are, in the end you'll notice they are really like not that hard to understand. We had a lot of fun with those, so I kind of thought that you might enjoy it. And I also thought that you should actually carry something out of this presentation, or some knowledge that you would enjoy out of the context of Shipmonk, because we are a fulfillment company. So this box on the side, that's Gaylord. So, reference from the movies and so on. There was a Mr. called Gaylord, and his invention was this huge box, and now you know. Okay. So whatever I say afterwards, you already have some kind of knowledge you gain here. My deal is done. We can talk about absolutely rubbish, and the evening wasn't wasted. So the level of expected knowledge to understand this presentation, this is a workaround. I 100% guess, but I think we all are familiar with testing on master, since master usually is something going into the production, most of the cases. And you kind of need to have some kind of setup to allow you test in the master, even though it doesn't really apply, it's going to production and so on, doesn't really matter. So you create a grandmaster, and just to be sure that you are 100% lucid when you test on master, grandmaster, you just enable the pipeline to be executed only from the web console. Makes sense? It's just a summary. If you are checking for existence of word master in a branch name grandmaster, you are still getting the execution. You can do your testing. You done a workaround. It's sweet. It's simple. It's just one line, and it's going to work. So slightly more difficult workaround, and not that really that much. I think for more like 100 lines of code. So it's like 99 more lines than one line, but I think we'll get through it. So there are these televisions in our warehouses. They are everywhere. People use them to displace Metabase dashboards, and that's basically it. They need to be there. Nobody likes to take care of them. You need to buy them, maintain them, and so on. Cost of one display is usually about I would say $1,000 if it's like a nice one. So makes sense, right? You are working in warehouse. You just want to see hey, how is my warehouse performing today? So just check the dashboard in the TV. You are fully up to speed. You know what's happening. Doesn't really sound like a context for introducing any workaround whatsoever. So just to bring you up to speed, what are we actually talking about? You would like to display a dashboard written in modern web application, which is Metabase. And those TVs are actually able to perform JavaScript from 2016. It's not really that much, really. Right? It's like some of these TVs are the age of primary school student in 5th grade of elementary school. So it's like when you actually would like to put it into the context. In that time, JavaScript was able to execute power statement, like number of power or something and so on. So displaying a dashboard from Metabase most probably wouldn't fly. And if you would dream of updating those televisions, you can try to destroy a few of those and they'll just buy new ones. But it usually won't work in scale. You would have to destroy a lot of television in each warehouse. That's a lot of expensive work, traveling around, kicking televisions. So sooner or later they will probably notice. So you'll have to think of something else. And why are we actually thinking about Metabase, televisions, warehouses, and so on? It happened that once you update Metabase from one version to the other, everything actually broke. So it's like a white screen, And it actually took us a while to notice like what is actually happening. Like it's like the closest warehouse to the Prague office back in 2020 was the one in Florida. So we basically received a ticket like, hey, dashboards are not showing. And like, yeah, that's cool. We don't know why it's happening. Could you like give us some details? If you write them this message at like, I don't know, 9 a.m., you'll receive response in like 3 or 5 because of time difference and so on. So it wasn't really like flexible. So at the end, we actually noticed that the problem is version of JavaScript and that the televisions are not really able to display it at all. So what would like basic engineering, background guy would do? Write a run book. Write something down saying that, oh, wow, if you are going to upgrade Metabase, just think about the JavaScript, downgrade it during the process and so on. I was able to create some, like a flow chart of like how much step would you need to do. It wouldn't fit. The point is, it's complicated. So yeah, we did that. Every upgrade was like 2 weeks of work of 2 teams, front end trying to downgrade JavaScript for Metabase, Metabase trying to do its best not to make it work, because why would you do it in the first place? Then you have to validate it in the warehouses. So we have to, get somebody on a call and try to ask them like, hey, does it work or not? They will be like, yeah, no. And you'll just iterate few weeks, and later on you'll have your Metabase downgraded enough to be able to be displayed on the TVs. There are these lovely emulators. I didn't know about them, but you can actually find a Chrome running in your browsers. Like 10 years ago, Chromes like this. It's really fun. It's not easy to find this, bracket from Windows 95. So I had to ask ChatGPT, but it's like the only AI I was using, so don't worry, no worries. So we had to do something. And this is like the solution we did. That's like the improve runbook for upgrading Metabase. And this is after, this stuff we did after to make all of this work. And it's very simple. It's those 322 counts of lines. 300, not really that much. It's just Playwright taking the pictures of Metabase. Because like after like a year of struggling around, somebody finally told us that these displays are not interactive. People are not really touching those screens to get some refresh and so on. They're just watching pictures. So turn out that you can actually do a picture, save it in Redis or something and display it for 5 minutes and then just refresh it. Nobody would even notice. So I don't know. Front end, even easier. You just have to display the picture, obviously, and just refresh it every once in a while. So my high school knowledge of set interval in JavaScript finally paid out, and I was like happy that finally something, and that's basically it. Like big success. Like set a lot of time of front end people. They don't really like to interact with us anyway. It's like a SRE stuff, DevOps, infrastructure, and so on. They just want, they love their JavaScript and that's it. When you ask them like, hey, can you please downgrade JavaScript for us? Like, are you mental or something? It's like waste of time for them anyway. So kind of works, no need to renew TVs, which is a big thing. It's like something I can present to procurement, which are actually people who understand all the stuff around the money. So it's like, hey, we don't need to buy new TVs anyway. I'm pretty happy about it. Kind of enterprise solution, yeah. Saving a lot of money. And this is from Do It. How much does it actually cost to run the software which actually takes the pictures and displays them somewhere? So it's like $100 each month, solved. It's like less than cost of one television, no arguing with anyone. It just runs. Yeah, so it's a workaround. So there's a second one, Grandmaster, the proxy for making the pictures, and now Terraform. It's going to be the highlight of whole presentation, just focus. It's not going to resolve anything, but I was kind of wondering how to explain drift in Terraform. Thanks, Marek Shunda, for his picture. I asked Wikipedia, it's a difference between configuration and the state. Makes sense, so configuration, your expectations, all that stuff, and the state. It's, you would survive. I actually presented some normal examples. We set the temperature to 22, but partner, especially, guys, set it to 19. And then, ladies are going to be upset next morning that it was actually cold in the night. So you compromise and set it to 24. Obviously, happy accidents. You wrote beer on a family list to buy. Then somebody else buy the beer and you will also buy it yourself. That's something I would call a happy accident. I would happily do it every day and so on. So now when everybody actually understands the drift, what consequences could it get? From my perspective, the biggest problem of the drift is not that it actually happens. There are some situations where it actually, be justified. The problem is how to resolve it in a way that it's not actually a drift. Like what should happen, how it should be, adjusted in a way that it's like a normal state of things. So in a way, if I just narrow it to the simple question, like whom you should ask, like, hey man, what's the correct setup, how we should keep it, and like, what should we do? I've got an example. This is an Datadog monitoring, trying to check how much time you get before the domain is going to expire. Makes sense, right? You're like having like multiple domains. You are interested like how much time you get before they expire. So you set the priority to 1. It's important. Somebody goes around, set it to 4. So it can happen that nobody will notice the alert and so on. It's a situation you wouldn't like to face. So you'll just think of like, hey, I have to ask somebody. So why you should do it personally? It can get kind of ugly. It's like, find a drift, identify who caused it, ask a person to fix it, and so on, so on. Like from Slack, like, hey, the priority got changed. Could you actually like tell me like what's going to happen? Should we fix it? Asking multiple days in a row, nothing is going to happen. That's typical, especially for the employees who got relieved or something. So you can do the same thing with a bot. Bot can ask the same question. It doesn't get, his feelings hurt. It won't probably resolve the drift, but it doesn't really get personal, right? It's really important. You just don't like your karma to get spoiled and so on. So this is the same message I wrote in the previous slides, but just bot did it. It's like somebody sends, somebody do some kind of drift and the bot reminds it, hey, can you please check this out? It might be like important. So I just have to go there, adjust it as it was, and instead of a drift, you'll have new state and so on. Makes sense? So it's still, the same workflow. Somebody can ask the same thing. The only like interesting part, which I actually missed in tools like that, is that somebody will have to check in CloudTrail or whatever audit log you have, compare the state, check who did it, and then remind the person responsible for the fix. It makes sense. That's the code. It's really simple. It turns out that Terraform is actually pretty capable to print out all the differences in this TFLN JSON. So it's like if you are interested, that's like the most interesting part I've got out of it, because then you can like check by the REN in the CloudTrail, and it's getting like pretty fast to resolve. So is it a workaround? In like social level, let's say it is. You don't have to talk with people, which is important. Know how it is in like your companies and SRE and infrastructure and the support services you provide to your domain teams and so on. But every time you have to discuss something with them, you're kind of risking, losing their happy smiles and, their enthusiasm about the infrastructure. So having a bot doing the same thing, I think is like resolving all the issues you've got. So did we resolve all the drifts? No, obviously not. Do we have to argue with some people? No. It's a bot issue nowadays. It was simple. It was like a day of coding, and that's it. So there's a third workaround. We got the grandmaster. We got the proxy making pictures. And we got this drifter reminding people about what to do and how to do it. Zabbix versus Datadog. Yeah. So why are we actually even talking about it? Like, why do I actually mention it in a presentation? Both of these tools are for monitoring. Datadog obviously does a lot of stuff at once. It's a whole package, really expensive package, which I think everybody can agree on. And they have this thing, network devices monitoring. And the lowest price you can get, and I have to refer to Claire, who is actually our representative responsible for our account in Datadog. The best price you can get is like $6 per monitor device. So if you have like your routers, switches, UPSs, $6 is the lowest you can get with Claire. I think you can argue with somebody and they might get you like a lower price. But it's like, imagine you're like having like 100 devices per each warehouse. It's like 600 a month just for monitoring. Just try to explain this to procurement. No. So that's a lot. I took the time and analyzed the situation with current costs of RAM sticks. It turns out that you can have like 6 of these a month if you would like to monitor the warehouses we have in Chipmunk. I was kind of wondering if I can push for the monitoring, not to use it and buy the RAMs instead as an live investment and so on. And then I got tired and asked AI to prepare a Zabbix server for me. So that's a lot. That's what I want to say. And if you think about monitoring servers and what you can get these days, it's like there's not like a common problem, not something you would pay $6 a device for. Like in 2001, there was this Cacti server. The only thing it did was fetching the SNMP traps from devices in the network with PHP, and that's it. What else would you like to get? There was this whole other stuff going on. Datadog in 2025, you need to ask somebody to put this into the budget. Or you can get Zabbix, which for some reason I thought is way younger, but it's from 2004. It's kind of surprising for me. And that's how much it actually costs. So this $161 in December is when I installed Grafana integration to it, which actually needed way more utilization from CPU. So I had to buy some large instance to get it running. Other than that, still less than $6,000. Not much RAM, but it's cheaper. It works. It's still able to consume quite a lot of items at once. With the current setup, it's like 4 CPU cores with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's still able to consume about 30,000 items a second. So, just if you have the same issue as we are having, this is still cheaper and it still works, So how much actually does it cost? Since we are talking about workarounds, we always have to focus on cost, the maintenance time, the time it took actually to introduce the solution. So it was about 20 efforts, which nobody really knows what it is because it's project management stuff. But it's not really that much. Monthly updates of the server, which I kind of skip a few months, and it still works. Nobody noticed. Occasional support for IT, which makes sense. Those are the guys who are actually using the setup in the first place. No discussion with the procurement. It's like a second workaround where I mentioned procurement. They are not a problem, they are just players playing the game. Nothing personal. So that's the fourth workaround I introduce. Simple thing, you just have to work on, hosting, making the server works, and that's it. And now something slightly different. I'm so fast. Hopefully you guys have some questions, I don't know. Now we'll talk about AutoVPN, which is totally 100% our stuff, done with Stepan over there, the guy who's actually munching on those. Yeah. And OpenVPN, which we are using for our developers in Chipmunk. And with that, I would like to do a game, since I've got these wonderful t-shirts. 4. All of them are 2XL, which is actually M in American sizes. So everybody should fit in them. If you wouldn't find the original use case a t-shirt usable, you can use them as a bag, rack, curtain, whatever. And the game should be like guess your guess your service based on the pricing plan. The thing is that all the services you can get, the SaaS services, get their pricing really high whenever you are trying to enable SSO. I think everybody has the same feeling. So I got like 4 slides of showing the services, and the only deal you got to do is guess the service the fastest, and then you get the 2XL rack t-shirt or whatever for yourself. So the first one, which one is it? SSO, contract. So you'll have to ask somebody. You have to talk to somebody. Fucking hell, yeah, exactly. Here's your, sorry. Look at it, like whoever tried to implement SSO, it's not hard, it's like one of the simplest things you can add to your product. But in the end, you have to, when you buy Cloudflare, when you want to, use SSO for your own company, you have to ask somebody, talk with somebody, get into the call, get to know some salesperson. It's I don't want to talk about like all of you guys, but for me as an engineer, talking with some American guy about like sales and stuff and how is my day, what team am I representing, what do we do as a daily chore and so on. I hate this. No. I really appreciate salespeople from like Europe, like Eastern guys. Those are like, what do you want? Hey, just SSO. Yeah, man, sorry, it's going to be this and that and that. I really appreciate your honest answer. Could it be like, could we do it lower? No. That's done, So which one is this one? And this one's kind of tricky, but it's kind of, you got the hints in the comments. Yeah, it's like startup, $99. It kind of implies Atlassian at its essence, Status page, who said status page? Okay. I try to throw it. Thanks. And this is actually the internal versions of status page. They got 2, external and internal. External, for some reason, is cheaper, I don't know. But you don't get SSO for the external ones. Maybe that's like $50 difference is the SSO for external. I don't know. This fucking hell. Okay, this one is super simple. It says it in the, yeah. Who said Notion? Okay. And we got a new player in the plan scene, AI for absolutely everything. Even like whatever you do, it has to be something with AI. So Notion actually applies it to all its plans, It's like, I don't like to make this personal, but who is using Notion on a daily basis? Just out of these 3 people who actually, got the balls to confess that they have to use it every day, do you actually use it like with pleasure or just because somebody from the company said so? It works. Wikipedia works. It doesn't have AI, SSO, and all of that shit. Okay, it's my personal opinion. Sorry about it. And this one, it's super simple as well. No, actually, no. No. Nobody? I still have one T-shirt, so. Should do it. Can help you. I think every last one of us is actually using it on a daily basis. Yeah, Slack. Yeah. So here's your T-shirt. Please enjoy it. The fun part is that Slack actually took the time and made all the differences in different billing plans you can get out of them. So everybody actually uses just all of it Google. Yeah. And this is oh shit, I lost my T-shirt. This is actually something kind of tricky because SSO is in all the setups, just without the T-shirts. Who took a guess? Like, what do you think? Which one it is? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. You can choose pragmatic. Okay. Fun. And this is something which I would like to continue with in the talk. This is actually OpenVPN enterprise version, something you would get, not even enterprise, like a growth version. For enterprise, you would at least have to, spend some hour or two with some sales guys. But if you would like to get a growth version of OpenVPN for yourself, enabling you to use SSO, $7 a month per session. Nice. So that's why, behold AutoVPN. And the thing is, before somebody will start to scream like, yeah, there is a Tailscale, WireGuard, and so of these things. AutoVPN started in 2019, well before that, we got confidence in stuff like WireGuard and so on. So AutoVPN is actually like trying to solve the access to the company network using OpenVPN, which back then was pretty much the standard you would use. So that's it. You can see Stepan. It's a small picture. The bigger version of that guy is still standing over there. Doesn't talk much, but I'm kind of trying to, get him to network more. Yeah. And basically what it does is that you actually, create a user, put it into the Okta group, it will generate the configuration, send the configuration in the Slack, and that's it. Once the people are leaving and so on, the offboarding is again removal of a guy from an Okta group, and that's done. Still cheaper than buying $7 per guy per month and so on. And it's like 200 lines of 200 commits. It's still maintained. Stepan actually takes great care of the whole project and so on. A few hours here and there with management, one refactoring once we migrated to Okta from AWS IAM. Doesn't really matter. But overall, it's still functioning and it's still cheaper than buying some SaaS service. I'm not saying that, if you would buy a SaaS service, you would, of course, get some enterprise support and so on. But for our use case, it was still better. So it's like fifth workaround. Cool, I got really good time. So summary, which is going to be really long. So I'm hoping to fill the whole, time I got left. Because I think there's like summary of summary at the end. So, whenever we are working on workaround, you got to really think like, is it really worth it, And I actually wrote this one down because I wasn't sure, like, is the management cost still less than paying for something enterprise? That's something you would, in the end, have to present somebody else above you, like to the management. We got the issue, we got the problem, we got the idea how to do it the other way around, but we are still not sure if it's going to be cheaper or with the same cost as we would buy the enterprise solution. The cost can like significantly increase over the time. Like for the proxy doing just the stupid pictures of Metabase. At the end, it was written in Pipetteer, which was kind of like fun not really that long time ago, but it's not really maintained these days. So everybody's, doing Playwright, so I had to rewrite into Playwright. It's not hard to do, but at the end, it's a workaround, and you have to push another effort into it to make it work throughout of the years. And of course, since you are like adjusting something you maintain, it's OpEx. So I'm still not sure that I understand what's CapEx or OpEx, but I know that OpEx is wrong. So whenever we are adjusting something and mark it as OpEx, that's wrong. And all the workarounds are actually OpEx, if you think about it. You're not really like creating something for a customer which will generate some kind of, money for the company. You are just trying to make the life of the whole company for developers better. So that's OpEx. Of course, every workaround will face the same issue. Like, hey, it does some cool stuff. Can we use it for something else? But that's not the use case you came up with, For the proxy making the pictures, like after 2 months when I wrote these 500 lines of code and so on, somebody came and I was like, that's a cool idea. Can we make it to, take a pictures of something else as well? I said, yeah, we can, but we probably shouldn't, because then, the original use case really changed. And in the end, you just don't know how it's going to end up in a few years. So it might be like better, instead of doing a workaround, do like some normal feature, which will do the same thing, but then get the support from whole product development department. And it's just not one thing that some guy did like years ago and nobody knows where it actually runs. So workaround is not a solution. It's just a workaround, and you should always, think about it in that way. If it's not, it's a feature, and you have to treat it differently. And of course, every time you are onboarding somebody into your team, you have to face this, question of, but why? Why did you do it in the first place? Because here and that, usually people coming to the company have a different background, technical skills, and so on. And most of the times, and if you hire somebody really good and they have this know-how of the whole field, they just introduce a better solution out of the spot. They are like, you're explaining how brave you were like years ago when you created this thing and it's still working there. And it's this junior just come in and just tell you like, why did you even bother? Like, what the hell? It's just, you can just buy this for $1 a month and it's going to do the same thing. And you just feel stupid. And in a way, it's kind of beautiful, right? You can just throw away a whole workaround. But I wouldn't have this presentation in the first place. But yeah, and also you got this feeling like this one is mine. These 100 lines of what I did, that's mine. Doesn't matter that AI helped me a lot, but it's there, it's mine, it's running, people are using it, and I'm really proud of it. And you just have to swallow this feeling like, hey, the time is up, and we can just use this, and it's going to be way better. So that's when I want to imply that workarounds are going to stay. When you introduce a workaround in your setup, you always have to face this situation of like, I have to introduce it to new people. I hardly have the ability to remove it. There is going to be like strong push enough to make me rethink the whole stuff. You always have to ask some of the seniors like, hey, would you like to rethink if you are still using it, and so on. So in the end, you got this, try to do some scientific things about it. So it's like a plot of cost and time, which applies to whatever you do in the IT or whatever, like how much would it cost? How much would it cost to do it in the first place? How much time would you spend on it during the whole time of the stuff being, running on your platform? Is the use case still valid? Should we like rethink the original purpose of the workaround and so on? So with that, you can actually clearly see that, Grandmaster is like simple. It's like one line of code. It's easy to remove. Nobody would be probably upset. Even like easier to rename for some different master, and it's still there. It's like the best workaround in cost and time ratio. Then the proxy, it's like somewhere in the middle, right? You still have to think of like, hey, Playwright is actually good for now, but in the future, there might be some new framework designed by Google or somebody else, and Playwright will get obsolete, and you'll have to rewrite everything in something way different. Hopefully, AI will do it for you, but that's the thing. Zabbix, AutoVPN, since it's like totally our product, it's like a workaround on the boundary. Like, would you still, do it now, knowing that there is a Tailscale or some other services you would use, and just not really, use your time programming the whole AutoVPN as a product? So that's the summary of summary, the super wisdom. And I know that I promise you'll learn out of the presentation something, and you already got your Gaylord. So whatever you read here doesn't have to teach you anything. I serve my purpose in the first slide. So the only successful workaround is cheap, small, done fast with zero maintenance and non-changing value over the years. That's basically it. I guess it kind of applies to almost everything, but So yeah, that's it. Thanks SRE team for all the workarounds throughout the years. Thanks to graphics department for all the monks. Hopefully you enjoy them. And if you got any questions, since we still, I think, got a time, there's a SRE team in the room, so you can find them, ask them yourself. But okay, got it. Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
Give me a second. If you have questions, so please.
I can just repeat the question. It's like I'm happy that somebody actually asked something. Just I don't want the guy to get scared.
Hello, I hope I don't get a feedback from the...
You do, but no worries.
Okay. So my question is regarding Datadog. You mentioned that you migrated to Zabbix, and you said that it had some certain cost. And I would like to know how much it cost you in comparison to the total infrastructure cost you have. Was it like, I don't know, 10%, or can you say a range at least?
Yeah. Comparing to Zabbix, Zabbix costs us about like $100, $200 a month. Oh God, I got a lot of slides, and hopefully I haven't. Yeah, I would say like 200 a month just for Zabbix. Also, you have to factor in some other work that people need to put in just to make it, work. Apply the whole like templates for the stuff. But once you do like a setup, like the initial setup, you are more or less done. For the Datadog, I tried one warehouse, and because I haven't asked for the discount, to make it like $6 per device, I think just for my try for Nevada warehouse, it was like $1,800 just to make it work. And the setup was that Datadog again will just browse the network for me, fetch the devices, and put them into the Datadog itself.
So it was network monitoring,
devices
monitoring.
Yeah, network monitoring.
And I wonder how much is that comparing to the total infrastructure cost of the warehouse? I mean, it's like 10%.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's basically nothing. But again, PD and warehouse budgets are something different. So yeah, I would have to ask procurement, and
Okay, thanks.
that's like my break point, not to do it.
So Martin, please, can you please stop sharing? I will share the screen with the Slido questions.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Yeah. Got it. Nice. I do remember Slido looking slightly bit different, but things are changing. Nice.
No. One more time.
I bet you haven't paid for your enterprise subscription.
We have it. So Martin, can you please read your questions?
All right. Yeah. Please tell me they bought Raspberry and connected them to TVS 2 months later. It shows systemd in its screen with. I bet, of course. Append branch name it. Yeah.
Please read the question.
Okay.
So
Um, yes, my answer for the first one is yes. The second one, append branch name. Append branch name if with ampersand slash USR slash BIN slash ENV remove RF no preserve root. They were really like costless workaround, like removing all the setup you've got that cost nothing. We're like always joking around, like removing the production database would do the trick of getting our yearly budget for AWS pretty low. So yes, again, AutoVPN, host checker, 2FA, multi-factor is taken care of by Okta anyway. So. And host checker, I'm not sure what it is, but Stepan is going for a cigarette, so you can just grab him and ask him about it. It's like the most introvert person I know, so he's like really happy to answer all the questions he got. Could you please elaborate on Terraform Drift? How do you assess and manage changes with the author? That's a really good question. I'm kind of happy that somebody actually asked that. Haven't expected that, but the thing is that with all the change you usually do in any SaaS, you get the audit log of changes, like something which was done. And if you are using users which have normal names, like let's say emails, kind of get easier because then you can again check in Okta. And since you have the emails of something similar to the service you are using, you can then also get the Slack handler and ask them in the Slack. So basically the answer is like audit log and then some user registry, something you can use where you actually have all the details, any LDAP and so on, containing handlers to your preferable message platform. So it's easy as that. Okay. Oh, a lot of questions. Are you going to try the, sound in this room again? Are you willing to do that? I can repeat the question.
No, we have a microphone again. So.
I would like you guys to come again next time, and I'm just great. Just try.
Mic check. Okay, it works. No feedback.
Nice.
I wanted to come back to the drift. So that process you described, you find the user manual and then you input it into a script that bothers the user for the answer, or does the drift detection and author detection happen automatically?
Yeah, automatically. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's just some cron which will execute every time with frequency would enjoy the most. If there is like an important drift, I would do it every 10 minutes. But hey, in the end, we came into the conclusion that once a day would be enough. And we'll just go around and do the Terraform plan, prints out the JSON with the plan changes. Based on that, since usually normal cloud providers provide you with some AD or something you can search in the audit log, you can just go through the audit log. And getting the users is again like, trying to keep your user registry up to date with the service you are using.
So you grab the plan, get the changes, get the resource names or resource IDs, check the audit logs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get the user and so on.
Terraform actually does a good thing saying which provider is used for what. So there is this field, I forget the name. I think it's so I think you wouldn't guess supposed provider. I would say saying provider would be easier, but it's like supposed provider, something like that. And it says okay, it's Datadog. So you know that you have to check in Datadog audit log, or it's like AWS. So you have to go into CloudTrail, stuff like that. So actually makes sense.
So then you get the resource ID, you know where to look. You have a script that goes through an API to that service and looks through that. Okay.
Basically. And then, you have to get the user from Okta.
Okay.
And you are actually, hoping that users in Okta are filled correctly with all the attributes you would like to use and so on. And then you'll just write your messages.
Sweet. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
So any other question? We don't have anything on Slido, so we can have space for a last question. No? So, okay. Let's see how it sounds good. So thank you, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you all.